Thanks for joining us on the John Mendola Show. We are driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers. Well, let's talk about the U.S. Olympic field hockey team. One of our very own, Kat Sharkey, joining us right now on the show. Well, Kat, great to talk with you. Let's talk about your summer here in July, and you're getting ready for a busy few weeks coming up.
Yeah, it's crazy that the Olympics are just about here. We have about 3 more weeks of training left before we head down to Rio, so we're really just putting, out our final touches and getting our final preparations ready to head down to Rio. Crazy.
How about some of the things leading up to now? Talk about the last couple of months, how things are going, and making sure everybody's in tip-top shape and playing their best there for the U.S.
Yeah, it's been really hard, the training. We train about 6 days a week, every single week, down in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So we're training full-time together all year round, which is definitely an advantage because the other teams around the world don't really train full-time like we do. So it's definitely a challenge in keeping us all healthy because of the workload that we are putting out each day and each week. But, right now we got to this point and we pretty much have everyone healthy in a good spot. So I think we put in a lot of work with our strength training to help with injury prevention. So far that's been working well for us, knock on wood.
You mentioned those 6 days a week. What's a typical day? Take us through some of the things you do. Are there things like film study and stuff like that when you're doing field hockey in the Olympics?
Yeah, we pretty much are putting in full days every single day. Mondays we start out with a lift in the morning. We have a 2-hour practice in the afternoon. Tuesdays and Thursdays are similar in that we have a 2-hour practice in the morning, 2-hour practice in the afternoon, and a conditioning session as well. And Wednesdays and Fridays, we do lift in the morning, a yoga session, and we'll usually watch film on those days of our potential Olympic opponents. And then Saturday morning, we either have a 2-hour training session or a conditioning session. So they're very long days, putting in lots of hours, but I think it's going to definitely help with our preparation for Rio.
A lot of control there as to what you guys are up against and a lot of what you're doing and all positive stuff. How about as far as the eating regime and stuff? I'm sure those are some things that they talk about or make sure that everybody's kind of eating the right stuff, huh?
Yeah, they're very strict with our nutrition, and we actually get body fat percentage testing done throughout the year to really make sure that our eating is actually, having an effect on our body composition, which will affect our performance. So it's very numbers-based, which is nice because you can see the effect that it has on your sprint times and your conditioning times and stuff like that. Kind of gives you an extra motivation knowing that, eating well really will have an impact on your game. But, we have a team nutritionist. We have individual meetings throughout the year. And we actually have a team chef who prepares most of our lunches and dinners throughout the week. So that kind of helps making sure that we're all staying on track with our eating. But it's definitely a huge part of our performance is our nutrition.
Kat, you talk about having a role on the team. I guess everybody's got a big role on this team. But talk about your specialty or what's expected of you.
I play forward. So, my job is obviously to score goals and just to try and pressure the opponent's defenders. We always say that our defense starts, up front with the forwards, putting pressure on their defense and trying to turn them over higher up on the field. So that's pretty much my role, is just bringing the energy both on attack and defense.
When you first started field hockey and you're playing at Wyoming Seminary, I'm sure you're thinking, hey, this is a lot of fun. I'm having a good time. And then as the years go on, you head to Princeton and win a national championship, and now you're doing the Olympics. There's got to be a lot of great memories from probably a time where you thought, hey, this is just a fun game, to now it's like a business, but you're still having a lot of fun.
Yeah, I have a lot of great memories from playing at SEM and playing in the Wyoming Valley Conference. It's just, field hockey is covered so well in the area, and, it's such a popular sport amongst local girls. So I just had so much fun playing, in junior high and in high school and all the club teams in the area. I definitely took it like one step at a time, though. When I was in high school, my focus was on, the high school team and, our goal of winning a state championship. And then, individually, I wanted to, get a college scholarship and be able to play Division I. And then once I got to Princeton, I started to set my eyes on the national team. So I did take it one step at a time.
How about the field hockey part of your life? Is that going to end at some point and you just kind of walk away and go off into a different part of the world? Or do you think there's some coaching in your future or something where you got to be around the game?
I haven't really thought too much about my plans post-Rio. I have been doing, in the little free time that we do have on the national team, I do find my time coaching to, supplement our income on the national team. So coaching is something that I've done and I have thought about, but it would be nice to stick around the game because it's been, such a huge part of my life to this point. But we'll see. I haven't really thought too much about it yet.
Kat, having that local connection with the other girls from northeastern Pennsylvania, of course, there's a lot of Pennsylvania girls as well, but talk a little bit about those bonds and those relationships you've developed over the years.
Yeah, it's so cool. With Kelsey being on the Olympic roster with me, we started out playing club together when we were, 12 years old, and then we, were teammates at Wyoming Seminary, winning a state championship together. And, we found ourselves opponents throughout college, her being at North Carolina, me being at Princeton. We actually matched up in my final game of my career. And then, to be teammates again on the national team is just so cool to have come full circle with her and kind of, we went through the journey together. And me and Kelsey have been roommates down in Lancaster while we're in training. So we're still very close. And it's just great to have someone, throughout training that you know so well and you've known for a large part of your life. And it's really cool that we're heading to the Olympics together when we started out on our first teams together.
And Paige Zielinski, of course, also Northeast PA, battling a little bit of an injury this year as an alternate. But we talk about being able to play the game at the highest level. What do you think your expectations are of your team? Is it to try to shoot for that medal this year for the U.S.?
Yeah, I think we definitely have, the goal of being on that podium at the end of the Olympics, but I think we're definitely going to take it, game by game and focus on each opponent one at a time. I think we're pretty confident going into Rio just because, like I mentioned earlier, how much work we've been putting in. We've been putting in such hard work day in and day out for the last, 3 years straight. So I think the work that we put in brings us confidence. But again, we're going to take it, game by game. And, I think anything can happen at the international level. And of course, every team at the Olympics is there for a reason. They're very good, they're very strong, and they're capable of beating anyone. So I think it's important just to, take it step by step and play our game and not worry too much about, what the other opponents are doing.
You talk about that free time. You said there's not much. You got a pretty structured schedule all week long. I'm sure you get maybe just a little bit of time with your family. It helps that you're not so far away if you have to make that quick trip.
Yeah, it's actually been a huge advantage, I think, for us, for most of the team, since we are from Pennsylvania, training in Lancaster and training not too far away from where we grew up. We normally do have some free time on the weekends, and I think both me and Kelsey like to take advantage of that free time and come back to northeastern PA and spend time with our family. It's nice to kind of just get out of this environment and, see family and see people who aren't on our team. It sounds bad, but it's just nice to, talk about things besides field hockey and training. So it's definitely been a huge advantage for us having our family so close to us.
Well, Kat, we're rooting for you here in northeastern Pennsylvania. I'm sure everybody across the United States going for that USA field hockey team for 2016 in Rio. I want to thank you for your time, and best of luck and enjoy it, all right?
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Kat Sharkey via Wyoming Seminary, Princeton, and the United States field hockey team here on the John Mendola Show. We are driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers.